Chapter 2. Genesis of a Battler. Despite being an instigator of all the games in the neighborhood and gaining respect among my friends there, I was physically weak and quiet kid. Boys from other neighborhoods and streets often bullied me. For this reason, at 14, I got into boxing. At that time, I was quite good at drawing, and my parents suddenly decided to enroll me in an art school. I soon collected my drawings, brushes, and paints and set out to class, but never made it there. A group of hooligans stopped me on my way and demanded money. I had none, so they tore up my drawings, broke my tools, and slapped me around. An athletic-looking man who was passing by scared the bullies away. Having learned about my plans, he advised I look into another activity, more serious for my age. Therefore, instead of going where my parents sent me, I eventually ended up heading in a different direction, to a boxing school. By the time I decided to join, I was late, coming there when a group of newbies had already been training for 3 months. The coach paired me with a guy who was a whole head taller and nearly 15 kilograms heavier than me. He mercilessly rained down blunt, heavy punches on me while I struggled in vain to reach his smirking face. This went on for almost 2 weeks. By the 3rd week, I'd had enough and decided to quit attending training sessions. However, the idea of quitting boxing entirely and leaving defeated was something I couldn't accept. After analyzing the situation and giving it some thought, I went to the library, and among the many books on the shelves, I chose one, titled Modern Boxing. I began to study boxing techniques on my own at home using the book as a guide. In addition to this, I asked my father to make and bring me a barbell from his workplace, and I borrowed some dumbbells from a friend who lived nearby. I started training with these weights almost every day. 3 days a week, I worked out with the barbell and dumbbells, and for the other 3 days, I practiced boxing techniques in front of a full-length mirror, occasionally referring to the book laid out on a table beside me. My self-training took around 10 months. During this time, especially over the summer, I grew a full 15 centimeters taller, but more importantly, I could now do 10 pull-ups, 30 push-ups, and gained a basic understanding of boxing techniques. When September 1973 rolled around and sports clubs began accepting new members, I returned to the same boxing school to sign up again. From the very first sessions, the coach noticed me. "Have you boxed before?" he asked. "No," I replied. "I haven't." "Really? That talented?" He was surprised. I didn't tell him about practicing at home with a book. Instead, I told him I just played soccer and hockey. A couple of months later, I became the undisputed leader of the group, and after another month and a half, our boxing school started hosting competitions. I won my first 3 fights and expected to participate in the city championship among novice boxers. However, my coach had different plans for me. He didn't enter me in the competition but moved me to the adult group, where experienced boxers were training, those ranked in candidates for Master and Masters of Sports. All of them were over 18, and among them I was the youngest. They called me teenager. I'm not sure if they were going easy on me, but sometimes, when I would come home after training, my head buzzed so much I could not focus on school or homework. Boxing with them, I didn't even see the punches coming. My head would just snap back, left or right. Everyone I was now sparring with surpassed me not only in age, but also in strength, technique, speed, and stamina. To survive among them, I needed, at the very least, to have a good reaction time. Again, I found myself in a situation that got me puzzled. The thought of training further and then walking around with a buzzing head was unappealing. After spending 2 weeks with adults, I stopped attending and started looking for a way out, but now things were much more complicated. I needed to obtain a training method that would allow me, a boxer without any rank, to quickly become stronger than the adult boxers, or find another way to survive in this group. I thought about this for a week or two, going over various options and methods in my head, but nothing sensible came to mind. One day I was at home, watching ice hockey on TV. An attacker from one team scored a very spectacular goal. They started replaying it in slow motion. They replayed it once, then again. I thought to myself, if only I could see all the punches thrown at me this slowly, I'd easily be able to defend myself. This thought suddenly took a root in my mind and made me start looking for a way to make it a reality. I went through a variety of books on anatomy, psychology, and yoga, even looked into the theory of relativity, and remembered a story our math teacher told us about a scientist who developed his mental abilities employing a well-known table game. I then chose to use his method. It was much later that I finally understood. In order to achieve higher results in sports, one must train not only the body, but first and foremost, its main control center, the brain. Meanwhile, I sought exercises that could train attention and vision. Gradually, over a month, I managed to put together a training program and began practicing. The first results came from exercises aimed at developing attention. About a month and a half after starting, I suddenly realized that I could read book pages significantly faster. Over time, results in reaction speed became evident, particularly in the ability to perceive fast movements. All this happened somehow at the subconscious level. My body started to react without any conscious commands from me, and only after 6 months did I learn to enter the state that allowed me to see all the fast movements of my opponent. After 8 months of self-training, I returned to the boxing school from which I had previously left twice. Coach didn't welcome me back, and for nearly a week I pleaded with him to take me again. He placed me in the beginners group, but almost immediately realized it wasn't the right fit for me and moved me to the group where the same guys I started with a year ago were training. It took me less than a week to prove my leadership in this group. I had expected the coach to return me to the adult group, but he did something different. For every training session, someone from the adult group would join ours, and coach would pair me up with them right after the warm-up. We practiced the group's scheduled techniques together for the entire session, ending with 2 to 3 rounds of sparring. Now I wasn't letting myself get beaten up like before. As he stood by the ring ropes, Coach watched my fights with interest, unable to comprehend the changes that happened in me. He constantly tried to find out how I managed to develop a reaction that allowed me to almost never miss blocking an opponent's punch. I would just smile in response, shrugging it off and keeping my secret. Then, I effortlessly won city and regional competitions. I still lacked strength, endurance, and speed in my punches, but I was planning to solve these problems in the nearest future. Coach was very happy with me and openly declared that he would definitely make me a world champion. However, in my weight category where I supposed to compete, there were 2 other promising boys, and Coach decided to move me to a lighter weight category. For this, he started to load me heavily with endurance exercises, and as a result, subjected me to overtraining. Consequently, when I was preparing for the competitions and had undergone a medical examination at the sports clinic, after seeing my ECG, doctors concluded I should temporarily stop practicing boxing